Hi everybody, I'm going to give you guys directions on how to do the relative humidity lab. We're going to be measuring the relative humidity of the air in the classroom, and from the previous day's class you may remember that humidity is the amount of water vapor that is in the air. Relative humidity is a measurement of how much water vapor is in the air compared to the maximum it can hold. And relative humidity that you measure today will be a percent. So if you measure the relative humidity of the room, and let's say you find that it's 42%, what that means is the air in this room is only holding 42% of the water vapor that it can hold at that temperature. The higher the temperature of the air, the more water vapor that can be in the air. And the colder it is, for air temperature, the less water vapor there is. So relative humidity is not great in terms of measuring humidity for temperature, but it's an easy way to kind of get an idea of how much water is in the air. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to get one of the vernier probes, and you're going to set the time and the mode. So you're going to get your pen and hit mode. It's a little hard to see. And you're going to set this to run for 5 minutes. So I'm going to change the length to 5, and then I'm going to change it from seconds to minutes. And the rate, you're going to have it record temperature 1 sample per minute. So rate's going to be 1, and the length should be 5 minutes. Hit OK to save it, and it should take you back to the home screen. So now you can see you have channel 1 and channel 2. They're both roughly the same temperature. Channel 1 is going to be what we call the dry bulb temperature. It's going to measure the temperature of the air in the room. Channel 2 is going to be the wet bulb temperature. That's the one we're going to measure the humidity with. So this probe right here is channel 2, and what you're going to do is you're going to wrap a piece of gauze around the thermometer like I'm doing here. You're going to take a rubber band and you're just going to wrap it around a few times until the gauze is secure enough on there, like this. I'm just going to move the camera back for you guys so you can see it a little better. Okay, and then what you're going to do is you're going to holding both thermometers. So you're going to hold one person can hold the channel 1, the air temperature, one person can hold channel 2. And what we're going to do is you're going to get a little cup of water, and you're just going to very lightly just kind of get the gauze wet. Okay, and then once you have both thermometers, you have your wet bulb and your air temperature, channel 1, channel 2. What we're going to do is we're going to hit play. So somebody's going to hit play, and then you're going to take one of the folders and you're going to be fanning both thermometers for 5 minutes. So you're going to hit play on your probe, and then you can look at the temperature by switching it to the data chart XY up here at the top. Okay, so now it's running, and what you're going to do is you're going to fan. So I'm fanning the thermometers for 5 minutes. And as you fan, you can go back to the home screen if you want. You may remember that evaporation is a cooling process. So if you watch, oops, my camera just fell. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so I'm going to fan the thermometers, and if you watch the screen behind my thermometers, what you'll notice is the blue window, which is the wet bulb. As the water evaporates, it's taking heat from the air in order to do that, so it's cooling the air near the wet bulb thermometer. So over 5 minutes, as this runs, you'll notice a cooling process occurring with the water on the thermometer. So you can see now it's already at, the air temperature is 21 on mine, and the wet bulb is already at 15.3. So as the water evaporates off that cloth, it's taking the energy, the heat from the surrounding air in order to do that. So over the course of 5 minutes, what you should notice is that channel 1 will stay the same. All I'm doing to the dry bulb thermometer, the one in the bottom thermometer in the screen here, is I'm just fanning air on it. I'm not changing the air temperature at all. But again, the evaporation is happening off the wet bulb thermometer, and it's taking heat from the air and its surroundings in the cloth to evaporate. So I'm going to keep on fanning for 5 minutes. And let's just say 5 minutes has passed. What you're going to do is then you're going to go, your probe should stop. You're going to hit the data chart So here's my data, and what you're going to do is you're going to record those numbers onto your data table. So I'm just going to turn the camera here, and you can see it says relative humidity. So here's my time, 5 minutes, and you're going to record the temperature of the dry bulb for each minute. You're going to record the temperature of the wet bulb thermometer from your probe here. You're going to take the difference of the two in each of the rows. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to write down my last number. So my 5th minute, I got a temperature of 21.6 degrees Celsius. And I got a wet bulb temperature of 13.0 degrees Celsius. And I'm going to use my calculator, and I'm going to do 21.6 minus 13, and I get a difference, channel 1 minus channel 2, so 21.6 minus 13 is 8.6 degrees. Okay, so what do I do with this number? How do I find the last column in your table, relative humidity? I'm going to give you guys a table. I'm going to show you how to use that table right now. So here's the table. So this table, this chart, will allow you to find relative humidity. If you look at the top label, it says difference between wet bulb and dry bulb temperature. So that is this number right here, 8.6. The vertical column, these numbers here, says dry bulb temperature, so that's the air temperature. That is this column from your data sheet here, 21.6. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to find the closest number I have to 21.6 on the dry bulb. If you go down, okay, so I've got 22, I'm going to circle it. And then I'm going to find the closest number I have to the dry bulb minus wet bulb, 8.6 degrees, which is the difference between the wet bulb and dry bulb. So I'm going to make, so that'll be 9 degrees. I'm going to circle that one. And then if you look on the table, it's going to be hard to do holding the camera, where the two meet. So here's 22. You're going to go over to where it meets to 9 degrees, which is right here. So where the two meet, I'm going to circle that number. And that number, 33, is a percentage. So the relative humidity in the room today is 33%. Hold on one sec. So the relative humidity you record in your table, just do it for the 5th minute, is 33%. What that means is the air today in the room is holding 33% of the water vapor that it can hold at this temperature. It can hold 67% more water vapor. So relatively the air is pretty dry today. So this is how you do your relative humidity with these materials. When you're done, you're going to take the gauze off the wet bulb thermometer and you're going to put it on the heater in the back so the gauze will dry. I'll have a tray there for you guys, and then you'll get set up for the next lab.